My guest today is a talented young musician, or should I say, a young maestro, because I know he's gonna get there. Maybe now you would say, nah, he hasn't earned, the title of being called a maestro, but I know he's gonna get there. He will. He plays viola, he plays in the orchestra, sometimes he plays as a soloist, he sings in a choir, he's a soloist. He also, recently I discovered that he's also a good conductor, not just a conductor, but a good conductor. I was at Saske in the finals. I saw him conduct for the first time. And I know he also conducts a community choir that he's going to tell us about. Welcome, Kgaugelo Mpyane. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you, Sibusiso?
I'm very well. You know, when I was watching you at Saske, I asked myself, what is it that this guy cannot do? I mean, you were conducting. I know you surprised. I think the first time I saw you, yes, you were playing in the orchestra.
In the orchestra, yes.
Yes.
Mzansi Orchestra.
In the Mzansi Orchestra. And then from there, I saw you singing with Vaughn. You were in the chorus,
Yes.
singing there. And in 2017, you were singing the Mnomia piece.
Zintabe Zinhle ZakwaZulu.
Yes. I think that was the first time I heard you sing a solo. Like, what is it that he cannot do? And now I'm at Saske. I see you conducting. Yeah. And you won,
Yes.
not just one category.
Yes.
What did you win?
We got position 3 in the Western piece, secondary B, and we won the male voice. We got
Yeah,
gold in the male
I
voice.
watched you, with the male voice.
Yes.
I was so impressed. Man, I asked, what is it that he cannot do?
Yeah, no, conducting is a recent thing that I just figured that I tended to love. I didn't think that I would be a conductor or even love conducting people or orchestra or a choir for that matter.
It just happened now.
It just happened, and I was like, no, I'm doing this. I like this.
No, I can see. I could see the commitment, and that, sometimes when people are asked to conduct, maybe it's a school choir or a community choir, you can tell that, okay, this person can beat, the time signature and chew some entries, but reading the song from the conductor and see that, okay, he is now interpreting the music,
Yes.
taking it to the choir, and the choir giving it back to him. It's something else.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that?
Michael Dingan gave me my first basics of conducting, and he gave me a few lessons, and then I went to the internet, and I always, when we, as for an instance with JPO, when we play with different conductors, I read what they do in order to get what they want from the orchestra.
Okay.
And I think I've grew a lot from that. Online tuitions and just experience of learning how different conductors and watching how different conductors do certain things, how they achieve certain dynamics, certain tone color from a choir. Yes.
Yeah, because it's a whole different ball game, As a singer, you use your voice to express exactly what you want to say.
Yes.
And there's text there and there's sound, it's beautiful. And with your instrument, you are also in control
of what you are doing. Yes.
You're telling the instrument. If you're not telling it correctly, it won't give it to you correctly.
Yes.
But with conducting,
that's something else. With conducting, because you have to get what you think is right from people who don't even know what's happening in your head. So
they can hear what you're hearing.
I bow to conductors. It's a very different and difficult art form.
No, that's why I was so impressed, from being, because I know musicians who play in the orchestra are highly disciplined. They are able to read the conductor and try to do exactly what the conductor wants. And they never really, sometimes they don't bother, thinking ahead of the conductor. They know what they're going to do, and then they look at the conductor. If the conductor messes up, most of the time orchestra will mess up.
Yes, it will.
And you say, but you are slow. I'm trying to. They say, no, we're following you.
They're following exactly
I know
what
when
I'm
they're
doing.
bored with you, they're no, we're following what you're doing. Do it differently and see if.
Yeah.
But man, we'll track back to conducting. Where are you from first?
Oh, I'm from Soshanguve, a township north of Pretoria.
Aha. My question emanates from that, because I think I had this information that you are from Soshanguve, from a township.
Yes.
As a black young person, where did you discover a viola? Because I mean, we don't even smell, formal music at school.
Yes, yes.
In townships, it's only choir singing. How do you get to play a viola and play it so well that you get into an orchestra?
Yeah, for me, I was lucky to have met a man called John Ross. He was the music director of the UNISA Music Foundation back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
He passed away recently. So I met John Ross through a program of the UNISA Music Foundation, and I told him that I after seeing the world-class violist Jean-Louis Moorman from Bloemfontein play in Pretoria, I was like to John Ross that I would like to play that instrument. Can you help me? He said, do you want to play that?
Did you even know what it was?
I didn't know what it was. I just heard that it sounded amazing. She was playing a Sinfonia Concertante with a violin and a viola. So I like the mellow sound of the viola more because it sounded masculine and mellow and very nice. I was like to him after the concert, I went to him and said, Mr. Ross, can you please help me play that instrument? And he made things happen. He connected me with a lady called Hester Vullets. She's my first viola teacher. She got me in her arms, and I flew from there onwards. I got private tuition with Hester via UNISA Music Foundation.
So you discovered it in Bloemfontein. What were you doing there?
No, in Bloemfontein, I was already a trained violist.
Trained? Oh, yes. When you went to
Hester started me when I was 10 years. In Bloemfontein, I went there because Hester was like, there's a very good violist. It's Jean-Louis Moorman. And guess what? It's the lady that made me love the instrument that I started with in
So
varsity.
she actually taught in Free State?
Yes, she taught me in Bloemfontein. So I stayed there for 6 years. That's when I learned with Jean-Louis and I sang with bel canto voices. Yeah.
You know, I've been wondering how did this one get to play a viola? Because when you first discover the string instruments, it's like singing. Everyone wants to sing. Most people wants to sing soprano, the ladies, because it shines brighter than.
Yes.
Then with the males, it's tenors. They want to sing. Everyone wants to sing tenor. They get frustrated when those notes are not there, and now they have to sing. And now there's a violin that plays higher, and now you get to play a viola. Now I understand.
Yes.
That the sound actually.
The sound is the one that made me fall in love with the instrument.
Okay, so from there, how do you get to play in the orchestras, and which orchestras?
From there, hard work. I practiced every day. I would practice for 6-7 hours a day because I was 10 years.
6-7 hours?
Yes, a day. Because for my age group, my generation was already forward, playing in youth orchestras. Yes. So I had to catch up. So I had to catch up and I had to do it very fast. And luckily, with the practicing and everything, Hester gave me music. I catched up with everyone of my generation and I was there with them. The National Youth Orchestra, where I was principal violist for more than 6 years. So that's when
having to play catch up.
Yes, having to play catch up to being the principal violist of all the youth orchestras in South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, the National Youth Orchestra and the Miyagi South African Orchestra.
That's really brilliant.
Yes.
And I hope the young people who are actually listening to this.
Yes.
Because, all of us, we go through the same challenge of either being told you are too late to study any musical instrument. You can remain singing. You know, the first time I learned piano was at university. And you know, I was doing exactly what you were doing. I would leave the music department at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Go back to rest, sleep for 2 hours, and then dining hall, I'm back in classes 8 o'clock in the morning. And from there, I could be able to read and play a few things. And I was accompanying schools at some point until I got absorbed into this conducting business, and I didn't have enough time. So I hope really, you know, people out there who have talent, or even teachers who see that their students with talent, it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah, it is possible.
Because as well, you get the rejection of saying, no, you are late. You can't play the instrument, even from your peers. Like there were times whereby it was very hard as well. Being my first viola day, where violists will meet all over the country, I played under standard because, you know, as a catch-upist, you're not advanced yet to play that level. But immediately from those hard experiences, I went back to the practice room and I practiced even more.
Wow. How do we get more kids into this? Because I remember there's a picture that I shared last year from someone where there's an orchestra of kids and there's this like big orchestras like Berlin at the bottom.
Yes.
And the caption says, in order for you to have this, which is the professional orchestra at the bottom, you have to have that one.
Yes.
In black communities, where do we start?
You know, in black communities, in Gauteng, for an instance, there is what we call magnet schools. Magnet schools are open for everyone in the community, especially school-going kids, whereby a kid could just go they should just identify a magnet school next to their homes. They could go there and get music lessons for free.
Oh.
Yes, in Gauteng.
Wow.
I know I work, Soshanguva High School, it's a magnet school. It has music full-time. Yes.
That's why they're so good.
Yes, it has music full-time. There are trained voices and instrumentalists and brass instruments as well. You go there. There are music schools like UNISA Music Foundation. I know in most parts of Tshwane, they are sponsoring a lot of projects with instruments. They send professional teachers there. I also teach for the UNISA Music Foundation, whereby I have string students and voice students. So each and every, also in Soweto, there's basket. There are in Cape Town. There's a project of strings under the Cape Philharmonic, and the one that's in Kayamandi, the one that's in the townships. There is, you know, people should just figure out what's next to them, and go and knock on that door, and the kids should just be resilient and learn.
Yeah, because man, gone are those days that black people were only good for singing. I mean, now we have to see more and more.
Yes,
you know,
now we have to see
young people playing in the orchestra. It's encouraging, you know, to go to these competitions like Saske and see an all-black orchestra. Of course, we still have to improve, you know, to get to the standards. We've only just started, but we need the support, you know, to get it there. I hope people will start, you know, researching about these schools. I will also do the same and maybe share information, you know, for people or for teachers in particular who may be interested in terms of registering their singers. You know, places like the Western Cape and Gauteng are lucky because there are, you know, more players and teachers and these universities. I'm just thinking about the Eastern Capes, the other, you know, provinces. Is there a way, you know, from what the vision is, you know, from the UNISA Foundation and others to take it to every province?
Yes, you know, it's very possible. It just needs people to sit down and strategize, because something like UNISA Music Foundation, UNISA is international.
Okay.
And if it's international like that, a very dignitary from the Eastern Cape can approach UNISA Music Foundation and say, UNISA, we see you're doing a great job with kids in Tshwane. They are flourishing. They are playing in national orchestras. We would like you to adopt the province or maybe a town. They should specify a town. It will start there. Just adopt this one town and maybe fund with instrument 5 centers and send teachers there who will teach these instruments. I think that thing can work. It just needs people to just sit down and have a proper planning. Because we really need things like that, like UNISA Music Foundation. What they are doing is a great thing that they can help actually the whole country to grow musical wise and make sure that every kid has a chance in learning an instrument and just having the opportunity that people never had back in the days.
If you were not what you are now, like playing in the orchestra, a musician, what else would you be doing? Because that's where sometimes I feel we are stuck. This other part being what your parents want you to become. Yes. And when your passion is actually in music. So what was yours, and how did you bridge that gap?
After varsity, I was supposed to be a biomedical technologist.
The big ones.
Yes, I was supposed to be in that field. But immediately after that, my career there was a UNISA Music Foundation competition that I entered and won the overall prize. So if I can say, my life changed from then, because I got a full scholarship to go and study in Bloemfontein. I had to choose. Are you taking the full scholarship whereby you're going to study for free your whole 5 years, or are you going to do this career? I had to choose music. My family was not happy at first with it, but now I think, they were not happy at first that I chose music. But the fact that I got a scholarship and they would come to Bloemfontein and see where I was living. It was a decent place. It was a nice music department. It was not hectic. Bloemfontein is not that hectic in terms of like Joburg, whereby it's busy. So I think that's what made them calm down, and they could see that this person is really into music. Let's give him a chance and see how this thing will turn out to be.
Looking back now, where you had to take that decision of either going to the biomedical sciences or music, was it a good one? Because, I mean, there's a narrative that people cannot make a living out of this. Yes, that we're doing.
Yes. People always say that you can't make a living out of music. I think the decision that I made at that time, it was good for me because, at times when I'm doing a musical project, I would heal, with the sciences and stuff like that. It was only pressure, stress. With music, it was pressure and stress, but some form of healing at the end of the day, which made me make that final decision and say, no, I want to do this. And I went to varsity with that thing of saying, this thing won't make me a living. So when I'm in varsity, I had also planned. I had my own plans. To be famous, I need to play concerto festivals. People need to know you before you do anything. Concerto festivals, it means you have to practice even more harder. And after varsity, you need to have a plan of what am I going to do, which orchestra am I targeting. If you played enough concerto festivals, when you knock in JPO's doors or KZNP or CPO, they'll open for you because they know you.
Yeah.
Yes, and you've also played the National Youth Orchestra. You have National Colors. You've played Miyagi Youth Orchestra. So you, as a student, you need those little tiny backgrounds and this kind of achievements to make it in this field as an instrumentalist.
And your family now? What are
My
they
family
saying?
now is very happy. With the Sasuke achievements and everything now, they are over the moon. They support everything that I do.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really great. You know, because our parents don't understand this.
They don't.
And no one is trying to explain.
Yeah.
You know, I was lucky that the professor who took me in when I auditioned and applied to study at Rhodes, Professor Christine Lucia. The same night I auditioned, and I had problems with finances, so I couldn't register. But she was adamant that I have to study, so she vowed to assist me. She phoned my father, you know, to tell him that you can't change this child to do anything. This is what he needs to do. Otherwise, he will go crazy.
You will lose him forever.
Yeah, my father keeps reminding me that, you know, that there's that white lady
woman,
who
Christine Lucia, a very fantastic human being. Yeah.
No, she's really
amazing.
an amazing person.
Yes.
You know, I always ask myself, you know, how many kids do get that, you know, kind of opportunity,
yes.
you know, that this thing is explained to their parents. Maybe it's your role as well as the conductor in a high school choir.
Yes.
Of course, for you, it's much easier because Soshanguve High School is a center.
Yes.
But others, you know, can also explain to kids that if you are good enough, if you love this enough, you work hard enough, you know, you expose yourself, you take in, and you are disciplined, you can actually make a living out of it. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's the narrative we have to also
give the kids and spread the word out there.
Definitely. You recently went to the African Choral and Gospel Championship.
Yes.
Was it in Ghana?
Rwanda.
In Rwanda, yes.
It
The
was
first one was in Ghana.
Yes.
When it was launched, I remember.
Yes.
So in Rwanda, with Bokamoso.
Yes, Bokamoso Chorus.
Yes. Please, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. We wanted to go there, but the first time it was late in the year, and you know, for university students, there are times you can't tamper with. Yeah.
In February, early February this year, I was contacted by a man called Kgaugelo Mpyane. Kgaugelo Mpyane, he's the MD of the Bokamoso Bus Services.
Okay.
Who is currently the president of the Bokamoso Chorus. He's the owner of the choir. So he contacted me and said, Kgaugelo, I've been seeing your work and your videos of you conducting. I'm studying a choir. Can you please come and conduct this choir and be the MD of this choir? I was like, this is big shoes now. Asking me, he says, I trust you.
So you're not only a conductor there?
No, I'm the MD.
Okay, let's talk about conducting. Then you have to talk to this one.
Okay.
This MD business.
Yes. So he employed me as the MD of the choir. And we started rehearsals, and it was just normal rehearsals whereby a choir would sing a repertoire, and we immediately saw the post of the ACGC being postponed and taken to Rwanda.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be in November last year.
In South Africa.
In South Africa, yes.
And he says, no, because these people, he is a very big fan of choral music. I didn't think one who is that busy would really like choral music that much. I'm sure he knows you. He knows everyone in the choral music sector. He knows all the conductors. He knows almost all choirs. He would sing for you everything. He doesn't have anything choral related background wise.
But he just loves
choral music. And we saw this advertisement saying that it's moving to Rwanda. He immediately said to me that, you know what? These people they know South African choirs are talented. They are taking it away from us. Let's fetch it. That's when Rwanda started. He said, these people are taking it away from us. Let's fetch this title, because they know most South African choirs won't afford. So let's now sit down with the management. We have a management of 4 people. It's me, the MD, the CFO, the CEO, and him as the president.
Okay, who are the other members?
It's the CFO, it's Itumeleng Seleka.
Okay.
She's in the Metropolis. She's not in the choral as well.
Okay.
And the CEO is in Njeza Mdaka. He's in the ANC. He's a comrade. He's also not in the choral. And it's Thiro. I'm the only one
That's interesting.
who is in the choral field. They would always say to me that we are following your dream. You are leading us in this, because they don't know anything about choral music. They were introduced. They just
holding the
have,
structure.
yes, they're holding the structure, which I find very interesting and nice, because, sometimes I've seen with this choir that sometimes having a majority of them not being in the choral sector, it means when they do things like proposals to business companies, they do it not in a choral music kind of aspect. They are broad.
Yeah, it's not only focusing on the artistic aspects of it.
Yes.
One of the conversations I've had already, we spoke about this thing of the structure from the choirs to the provincial or national structures. That there's a perspective that especially from conductors, that no, we can't have people who are not clued up with choral music. They're gonna mess things up. They don't understand what we're doing. And when we get into the structures as conductors, our only focus is on the artistic.
Yes, music.
So I really want to hear more about this idea of having people who know other things in terms of organizational development.
It helps in a way, because everyone would know their duty in the management. No one touches music, because music is Kgaugelo. Only Kgaugelo. I won't touch finances. It's not my field.
We touch.
Yes. It's not my field. Like, also Itumeleng won't touch the running of the choir, because it's the CEO's job to do that. Njeza's job. The president just oversees everything. He doesn't come and does things in the choir. He oversees that the choir is running well and the management is doing their job.
Okay.
And we have an exco, which are your project managers and your admins.
I really love what I'm hearing, because one of the things that when I joined BWC Creative Arts Choir in 2011, one of the things that we started discussing was this thing of the choir structure looking exactly the same way as a political structure.
Yes.
Where you have your chairperson, deputy chairperson, secretary, deputy secretary, all those traditional portfolios. And I asked myself, is this structure, fit for the purpose? Is it serving the purpose? I'm hearing you speaking about project managers.
Yes.
Because you're going to have concerts, it's a project going to that ACGC.
Yes, it's a project.
It's a project. And
And
it needs someone.
yes, someone who knows what they're doing in that department. And the project manager was hands-on with ACGC, because that was his baby, his project. So in terms of taking sponsors, knocking on doors, the management, we do that, but also the exco, we split the duties amongst ourselves and said, this person is doing this week, this person is doing this, going here this week, which I find really refreshing, because as an MD, you won't have a lot of stress whereby you need to do everything yourself. Even focus on the choir, because there are people who also doing other things outside focusing on the choir. When the choir is rehearsing, the choir is rehearsing. And the other thing, on this exco, most of them are not choral people. Some of them are choral people, but it helps also to not have a lot of choral people in the board, because when rehearsals are happening, they will say, we're going out to buy this, we're going out to do this. When you're rehearsing, you need the whole choir there seated with no disturbances and stuff like that.
So speaking about financing, is it financed by the organization Bokamoso, or there are other sponsors that you roped in?
The president is the main sponsor
funder,
of the
okay.
choir, but we try by all means to get other small sponsors from outside, and we're still even working harder in terms of getting more sponsors outside the choir. But Bokamoso Chorus is this baby.
How big is the choir?
The choir, it has 85 members.
Oh. Yeah. That's really big. Is it run as choirs whereby people just walk in? Do you audition people?
Yes.
How do you select?
We in the exco there are part leaders. When you need to come to the choir, I send you the contacts of the part leader of that voice. Let's say bass part leader is Siamo. I send you the contact numbers of Siamo and say, tell Siamo that I sent you to him. Siamo will tell you that I need a video of you, a 30 seconds video of you singing something very challenging, like you showing your range and everything. And after he received that, we have a part leaders group. He sends it to me first, and then I assess that and say, no, I think this video is fit to join the choir. And then I send it to the part leaders group, whereby it's 4 part leaders of different voices and me as the MD. We discuss this video. If all 4 of them are agreeing to this video, then you're going to be in the choir.
Oh, wow. Is there anything that choristers get? Because that's another big one.
That's why actually I agreed on being Bokamoso Chorus's MD. We try by all means to make this choir as corporate as possible. Not focusing only on competitions. Like currently we're working on projects and concerts. We haven't announced, we haven't even had a structure yet of what we want to do. But the end product should be like we're having a big concert, and at the end of the day, each and every chorister goes home with something. Hence, the president made sure that the Bokamoso Chorus belongs to everyone. We made a structure of shares of the choir, whereby each and every member of the choir here is entitled to shares of the choir. Hence, the choir will also have a membership. You're not part of us if you haven't signed the membership of the choir, because that's how we would monitor our main members of the choir. Those are the people who are going to be eligible to get shares and who are going to also get something maybe at the end of the year or after a big project. We manage to give people a certain thing, because it's always nice to have a choir, but when those people go back home, some of them are not working.
Yes.
Some of them their parents are trusting it for the fact that a person is moving from the Free State and they're going to Pretoria, they're going to come back with something. So at the end of a term or at the end of a season, they must get something to go back home to and say, Mom, Dad, here's what I got from the choir. That's our main aim as Bokamoso Chorus. We want to do that.
That's really amazing. Are there any, besides signing a membership form, is that attached to something like a contract that says during this period of time, this is the choir that you're gonna sing with? Because you know how fluid this thing of choristers is.
Yes.
Today you see Kgaugelo here, tomorrow over there.
We have our membership is a year. That contract is a year. If you sign that, you stuck with us for the whole year. We can't see you going. If we see you, maybe for an instance, singing for another choir and the management doesn't know, or maybe Bokamoso Chorus, since it's a community choir, I think one can sing for institutional choirs, for instance Satika, but you have to let the management and the exco know that you are going to sing for this specific choir, and then they give you a release to go and sing there. If we see you singing there, you go into hearing and then we deal with you. If it's a suspension, you get a suspension. That's how the choir works.
Yeah, because we have to get there.
Yes.
We can't on one hand keep saying our industry is ignored, is not taken seriously, whilst there are no structures within
the industry
that say Uguti, this is a serious industry that must be taken seriously. No, it's very good, and I hope there will be more choirs, who emulate that kind. And I know there are choirs that are doing it, but we need more and more so that
More and
we're a controlled
Yes.
industry. As a school choir conductor, this is not new. It's quite disturbing. Whenever we go to competitions, and now I'm seeing this thing in the school choir competitions, the audience, when we go to watch, we bring a lot of alcohol. And more than just drinking it, we're drinking it openly in the parking lots, sometimes closer to the venue, and there are kids all over. We've seen it in the community choir competitions, yes, but now it's creeping into
the schools.
Into the schools competition. So is there any is that something that is distracting you guys, and how is it affecting so that we can deal with it?
It's disturbing a lot. Hence, my kids, after they sing, they get into a bus and go back to the hotel or home. I really don't like the kids to remain at the competition for a long period of time because of what this year I think it was even worse. People going into the hall with alcohol. I don't think that's how we should show people that there's especially for Sasuke. I don't think it's how we should treat these kids because they're school kids, 2006, 2007 kids. They're very young to be exposed to alcohol. You will even get primary school kids. When you go and watch them, these kids see it and they get used to it all the years. And after they're done with university, with studying in high school, they will do the same because they think this is what this is about. When you come in there as an audience, you need to come prepared with alcohol, which I feel like it's a very hot topic that we as a country need to really look into and decide if this is the right way to do things or we should change things and make it better for everyone. Because at the end of the day, the kids are singing about anti-drugs on stage.
Yes.
And then people are busy drinking and smoking in front of them. So what message are we bringing to these kids? It's like we're contradicting ourselves.
We really need to condemn it. We must condemn it because it's wrong. I mean, even this thing of going to a competition or festival and never go inside the hall and just sit in the parking lot
and drink alcohol.
Why? Why did you go there in the first place? Yes. What is your interest in that space? Because you can always sit at the bar somewhere and drink. And if you're a group of people who want to do that, go do it somewhere else. It's even worse when it gets inside the hall. I saw it. It was my first time because Sasuke finals will always, even if they overlap with 1 or 2 days, clash with Satika.
Yes.
And being a university choir conductor, we would always go to Satika. And then at some point when we were not attending Satika, we then went to the World Choir Games, which happened around about the same time. So I'm always busy at that time. So this year I didn't have it. Even my camp is only happening later. So I attended for the first time. And really it was a shock to me.
I think this year was extreme.
Yeah.
I think it was extreme. As much as people were hungry for choral music, but as much as choral music is a social platform for everyone to gather and socialize, but I don't think starting it with alcohol is a great thing. We should just go there and watch the kids in the auditorium, and after they finish, you go wherever you want to go and then have whatever you want to have, but just not in front of the kids.
Yeah, because I mean, how do we on one hand condemn it when an incident like the one that happened in Eastern Cape happens? Because those kids who unfortunately passed on, we're celebrating because we show it to them that this is how you enjoy yourself. There must be alcohol
when you're celebrating. Even
the fact that we allow them to be in that space with us as adults, and there's nothing we say or do, So I think it's really a futile exercise to have all these compositions and about social ills.
Yes.
When on the other hand, we actually do it in the space
of that message.
Because I mean, if we're saying they must sing about anti-drugs and we're using it in the nah man. So I hope going forward as we are trying to rebuild, which is my last part of this conversation, as we're trying to rebuild choral music. We've been out for 2 years. Sasuke has started. Now we will see more maybe coming in. In your opinion, where should we start? If we want to improve. Fortunately, you're saying in community choirs as well.
Yes.
Besides being a conductor, where should we start? To reorganize ourselves, and what should we focus on? Because I'll tell you now, the only thing that was up there that we were focusing on was competition.
Yes.
And it doesn't prove to be the best thing. It's not the worst thing that can ever happen, but it's not the best thing either. So in your opinion, what should we focus on?
I think as community choirs, people should just focus on writing proposals and handing them to different institutes like your Department of Arts and Culture, and have regional organizations whereby they would have one structure on top, and that would represent all the choirs, for instance, and maybe be like, it will be the voice of the choral choirs. For instance, when in terms of funding, because choirs, that's the only thing that they function on, funding. Because since competition, it's not something that really actually worked, because we've seen after the before even COVID, the competitions, after NCF went away, things started being quieter and melting pot. So it has to make us see as South Africans that where did it go wrong? Where did it all go wrong? Because immediately after that, choral music synced faster than Titanic, because that those were the competitions that we looked up to all year. But immediately after that went away, I was like, no, but there's something wrong. There's something wrong that is happening, because immediately after choral competitions go away, nothing is happening at all. So then these little structures would be the voice of the choral, maybe choral choirs, community choirs, to say that, look, for instance, as a choir, you need this and this and this and this. Submit this here and there and there and there. These people will help you with this, 1, 2, 3. And then a choir would be sustained, for instance, would be sustained, and activities will continue going. Because for me, I think that's where the engine starts, when a choir has an activity. If a choir doesn't have anything in terms of funding, and it doesn't have any activities, and it doesn't have the management, it's not managed properly, and it's not managed by people who want to explore other things, that's the other thing. As a choral choir, we have to explore other things. I've realized that, hence I decided for the choir to go to ACGC, that I want to try this gospel route as well. As a choir, try other things, try other compositions, not choral, just other songs, forms of music. Because I think that's actually, because now you have to see where we are now, that also the funders are trying to also run away from the choral side. But for us to bring them back to the choral side, we have to also show them that we can do this and this and this and this, but not forgetting that choral music is the basis of our choir.
What we are doing.
Yes.
Speaking of the ACGC, are there any aspects of it that we can learn as a country? Because we are big on choral music. We love it. It's big, as you saw with Sasuke, and when it's NCF in the finals, it's big. We fill up venues like Durban
Standard-
ICC,
yes,
Standard
Standard
Bank
Bank
Arena, even the Dome. We do fill it up when it's national finals. From that competition or festival, what is it that you think we can learn from it?
South Africa can do great we can learn a thing or two from that competition. Like I'm imagining it, if it was in South Africa in November, it was going to be the biggest thing ever. Because
Definitely.
South Africa is everything that competition is offering. We have got choral choirs, we have more than 100, we have gospel. If we can even host a thing like that in South Africa, and it would be big. I think choirs from all over Africa are looking up to South Africa in terms of choral music and just singing in general.
But we're so focused on opera. I think we're so fascinated about opera to an extent that, other genres within
the genre, we forget about them. That's why I'm saying that people just need to be open-minded and just experience other form of music within our genre. That's where we will find out that, okay, this is working, this is not working. But if we're just focusing on one thing, we will never know what works and what doesn't work.
I wonder how many people who go to competitions who are like me. Now that I haven't been in a competition for quite a number of years now, when I get to a competition and listen to one song, 10 choirs singing it, I get bored.
Yes.
I really do. The own choice section, I really enjoyed it at Rema. I watched all of them.
Yeah, because me too, you are like me. When I'm watching one thing more than 5 times, it gets a bit. I'm like, wow, now I think
not overdoing it now.
Yes,
and it's been like that for
yes,
several decades now.
Yes. Hence, I've been supporting the fact that you'd get a pool, and then 5 prescriptions are in that pool. You choose from that, and it falls under one category. Things like that.
Man, it would really be interesting, because you go to festivals like the ACGC or the World Choir Games and others. You are given parameters for that category.
Yes.
That okay, you're gonna have a foreign language to yours, one from your country, maybe one accompanied that is not in the same category as the other 2, like from your country or in a foreign language, things like that. And then the whole repertoire must be this much in terms of time, maybe 20 minutes. Then you go there and you perform your stuff. And it's really interesting, and you are adjudicated based on this.
Yes.
Maybe one of the conversations I'm going to have, it's people who prescribe and the adjudicators to hear what is it about this thing of having to sing one song 20 times that helps in terms of adjudicating. Because I think we can adjudicate even if
the person comes with a different, I think that's something as well that we need to go back to the drawing board and think about. Because it's a nice thing whereby a person can come with their own structure of 3 songs and then compete. I think even the standard of music will go higher, because in the same time you're exploring and being introduced to different forms of genres and different forms of music.
And styles.
Yes, of styles. I think that's how also the style of singing in our country would go even higher, whereby people will be exposed to singing non-vibrato, singing light, singing in a different language, in French, for instance. Not only singing French, whereby it's prescribed in a Western piece of a competition, but singing a French song, whereby it won't sound like a choral piece. It needs to sound like a song. I think also that will take the standard and the technique of the choirs up, whereby we will be very competitive in the World Choir Games and your RICAs and all these big competitions.
Colleagues who are in the space of making these decisions, here is a challenge for you. Let's try to push the boundaries. We have to learn from what has happened before that was taught to us, take the structures and then let's push the boundaries and see what happens. You know, maybe, just maybe, that's where, you know, our success lies.
Yes. Because South Africa is fantastic. It has fantastic choirs, fantastic singers. We just lack that one thing, to just sit down and then plan properly and see where things are going wrong.
Great. Man, before I let you go, what are you busy with? Where do people, you know, contact you?
Now I'm just busy with Bokamoso Chorus, and people can contact me on Facebook, on Instagram. On Facebook, it's my name, Kgaugelo Mpyane, and on Instagram, it's Kgaugelo, at Kgaugelo. That's my Instagram account. And on Twitter, I'm also at Kgaugelo.
Great. Choral music is in the great hands with you.
Thank you very much.
I really admire your work. And I think coming to Sasuke just sealed it all, because I've never seen you conduct live. I've heard you sing, I've seen you play in the orchestra, but the conducting part and seeing you in action. And I mean, when you were done, you were back in the orchestra playing. I'm like, does he get all this energy?
Yeah.
So I think with that kind of passion, you know, for the genre, we will really get somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, if we replicate that and make it, you know, go wild within the genre. So thank you so much, man, for taking time. I know you are exhausted.
Yeah.
You've been busy, but you took time, and we're here. And I hope it's not the last time we will catch up again in the near future. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Sibusiso. Thank you very much for inviting me to the Choralist.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful talking to this young maestro. I insist on this. And I hope you guys learned something or two from what we discussed, and that whatever you learned will take our genre forward.